Screen time, lower IQ, or doctors warn of children and screen time. Or Steve Jobs wouldn't let children play with iPad. There's the headline. Psychology Today, too much screen time damages the brain. This has been known since the monkey studies in the 50s with televisions. And it screws up your brain big time to where a lot of people now, there's new disorders where they don't know how to walk properly or judge distance. And you talk to young people that are on iPhones and iPads all the time, and Lord knows they're great babysitters because they're mind control devices. It is a fact that the fluctuation rate that has been picked, there's a spectrum globally, puts you into a mesmerized, near sleep trance state. You can look at the studies and just start printing everything, guys. Not only is it ending our families, not only is it ending communication with other fellow humans, not only is it a conduit for brainwashing, when you add the weaponization of what's actually put into the programming, it is startling. I don't watch a lot of television. I do watch movies. I do monitor on YouTube aggregated clips of propaganda to be able to track it. But the whole time I'm pulled back, I'm consciously analyzing everything, and second by second, I'm able to catch the subliminals because they make me nauseated, because my brain, making my conscious brain be accessing my subconscious brain is very hard to focus. And it's basically like motion sickness. And then I'll say, okay, there's subliminal in that. Let's slow this video down. Let's find out what's in there. And sure enough, you find it. It could be kill the babies or upside down pentagrams or kill your children, kill your family, eat your children. And we've done reports on this. You think I'm joking? Just look into it. Death, you want to die, it's time to die. Submit, don't protest. Ron Paul's a meth head. Alex Jones is racist. Alex Jones thinks space aliens are with Elvis. I mean, the stuff I'm telling you is all real things we found. We have all been incrementally inducted from birth in an incremental system of total enslavement, dehumanization, and soul-sucking control. And that isn't rhetoric, that's real. Those words don't even rise to the reality. And what set me off before I had all this other news today was this article out of the London Telegraph, Call of Duty increases risk of Alzheimer's disease. Now, this isn't just one study. It's every major study on screen time. Remember back in the early 90s, it happened in the U.S. and Japan, it was a test. Remember? Thousands of children in Japan having convulsions, falling down in some cases, knocking their teeth out, biting their tongues off, when the eyes flashed red on Pokemon cartoon. This isn't a game, people, and it's not child's play. And you wonder why most people can't wake up or can't get involved, or even if they know they're being lied to, they can't seem to do anything. They are caught, to use the allegory of the snake in the Jungle Book, when he's trying to hypnotize people. Well, I'll say this, I'm no Shere Khan. I'm not a predator, but the snake's mesmer doesn't work on me. If you're a new listener, we have the New York Times on screen with the children going into convulsions. They say 700. That was the documented cases. It was thousands. Same thing was then done in the United States with other Pokemon cartoons. The television is a weapon system. When we put our videos on YouTube or other platforms that are HD, they can put carrier waves over it. That's why they're arrogant and don't care if we're on air. The carrier waves have been discovered. The carrier waves are in the news. If you're a radio listener, while I'm speaking, they're putting articles on screen. I didn't rehearse this with them. They just search whatever I say, and they find it, hidden in plain view. Your televisions watch and listen to you with AI computer. And I know you can't help it. You've given your children iPads, iPhones. They'll shut up so you can enjoy dinner with your wife when you go out, or you can watch your adult movie while they sit in there and watch theirs. You are literally sacrificing them to the globalists. And hey, listen, I get it. At least, though, get an old-fashioned Nintendo Game Boy or something when you go on a road trip, and don't give it to them till the 7th hour on the road. Absolutely restrict it. It's probably better just to completely remove it out of their lives. And then the other kids will see your children as weirdo Amish. But the truth is, you're only trying to protect them from this weaponized system. And hey, we jack into the Matrix to communicate with you. The proto-Matrix. That's what this is. The beginning of the insertion of humans into machines and the end of free will in the globalist own words. We all knew they were spying illegally. We all knew they were targeting other politicians. We knew they were spying on the media. I mean, what? Look at Google. Look at Facebook. Look at Twitter. Look at Microsoft. The whole platforms are built around spying on you. While you move the mouse over the cursor or while you're spelling, it tells you where you're going. It tells you what you're thinking. It tells you what you're doing. Amazon, 5 years ago, had nearly 100% accuracy rate. Now they have 100% accuracy rate off of your profile and where your cursor goes and what you linger on in real time. It's looking at you. Everything you do has your profile, and it knows where you're going and what you're doing, and it can then order it before you even order it and have it going into the shipping process to be delivered to you. And I told you that 5 years ago, and it finally was announced this year. Because it was already in MIT papers, it was already public. I told you the reason they went to the new type of light bulb is because they can send data over power line and flicker rate it to remote control the new computers that are coming out. That was finally in mainstream news again last week. They have mainstream dinosaur press every few months to a story saying Jones claims the light bulbs are controlling you. Well, they do also in the patents say the flicker rate has the added goodie of being able to mesmerize people. I mean, look at the public. Look at the IQ dropping. Look at people in a dreamlike state. The brainwaves are lower. I mean, this is all fact, folks, just like the spider goats I told people about 18 years ago. And I was reading it out of a technology publication that somebody mailed me before it was in CBS News, NBC News a few years before, and people said I was a liar. And I was on air with the Biotech Technology magazine, because I used to have listeners. They still do it. But back then it was precious because the web wasn't very big. They would send me publications. Hey, here's MIT publication. Hey, here's Stanford publication. Hey, here, it's a lot more serious. Hey, I'm an engineer at UT. Come on down. And I would be let in, you know, and they'd go, oh, you didn't see this, and punch a button, and it'd be hundreds of monkeys with wires in their brains with television sets brainwashing them. You know, I mean, I just don't even know what to tell people anymore. I mean, we're living in a positronic psych warfare hell grid. And they know that if we wake up to it, there it is, a new use for LEDs, mind control. Here, back it out. What's that from? Is that Wired? Oh, New York Times. Boom. When was that? 2011. See, print that, actually. Print that. But see, that's what I mean. I'm just trying to warn you, folks. The television is a giant LED weapon system. It's so advanced. They got a monkey farm in Bastrop, folks, that they do all sorts of testing on great apes, rhesus monkeys, the whole 9 yards. And I've seen it over closed circuit television. It was punched up in a DARPA facility. The labs are funded by DARPA. And let me tell you, they're training to fuck. Oh, God, I can't handle it. I almost started cussing, excuse me. I just, folks, it's getting to me. And I'm realizing that half measures are not going to defeat this operation. They have got thousands of monkeys at facilities all over the world. They have hundreds at this facility with wires in their brains in a 40-year program. It just keeps going with flicker rates to mind control them and to test them to then deploy the weapon system against you. Of course, governments were going to do this. Of course they would use it. Of course they would do it. Anything they can do, they're going to do it. They're putting hundreds of deadly chemicals in your water. They're putting hundreds of deadly chemicals in the food chain. They're putting all sorts of different wavelengths out. And DARPA is on record in the Baltimore Sun in 1999. I read this article on air probably 25 times. I couldn't believe it. A listener actually mailed me the Baltimore newspaper. I wish somebody would go to the microfilm and dig it up. And they said, it's true, DARPA's looking at fluxing the cell towers and doing tests to just relax the public during crises. And I was holding in my hand, because they do that as a test, DARPA in the Baltimore Sun talking about mind control towers. I mean, this is the stuff of schizophrenics. I just showed you the New York Times admitting LED lights, and but it's also not just the LED, it's the new curly Q ones. What do you call those? Yeah, fluorescent, I know, but they've got a certain name. The point is, those are the ones where they have the data over the power line, and then it can control devices in your house off its flicker rate, but also control you, and they admit it. And then the public's so weak-minded, they think I'm crazy. Because if they admit this is going on, then you're going to have to do something about it, folks. By the way, if you're a new listener or you're one of the mainstream media clowns that write news articles saying Jones is insane, there are no chemicals in the plastics changing our sexuality, or Jones is insane, glyphosates aren't bad for you, like they've said in the past, and don't change your sexuality and give you breast cancer. Jones is insane, there's no plan to militarize police. Jones is insane, the NSA isn't listening to us. Jones is insane, there aren't microphones and cameras in the TVs watching and listening, which they now all admit 20 years after I told you. You're under attack, too. Just because you play the game that you're part of the establishment and that you're powerful and that you're going to come out on top because you've decided to join with the globalists, you need to understand that most of you, I've studied you, are in denial. You actually believe none of this tyranny is happening, so you can then try to discredit our resistance to it. I know people in my life that I've lost, who I never see anymore, and when I do, they're zombies. And you know what they do? They go home and they watch their favorite TV shows, and then they play video games. And folks, let's get something straight. I go out sometimes to a place called Pinballs that's got a bunch of pinball machines and video games, and then it's a special event, and studies have shown it's actually good for the brain. A rarity, once a month. You're standing up. You're driving the race car. You're shifting the gears. Overall, it's not bad for you. A little of something bad can be good. But if you're doing this an hour a day, you are being hurt. And understand, it's not on accident. It's all perfectly geared. Again, I was allowed into the University of Texas Psychology Department into areas that are restricted. I'll just leave it at that. And they have a monkey farm out in Bastrop with thousands of primates at any one time. One of the biggest in the country. And they had DARPA programs with the monkeys strapped in, and they euthanize them after a week, with their brains strapped in, and just studying still flicker rates. DARPA CIA run. trying to find that perfect sweet spot to make you go into a trance and submit. So now do you think I care when they get on the news and call me a kook and a nut when I know all this? I mean, it's like, you're victims too, morons. You're under psychological warfare attack. Look at these headlines. Steve Jobs didn't let his kids use iPads. Smartphones, iPads hurt toddlers' ability to learn, socialize. What your brain looks like after a Netflix binge. Huffington Post. And what's it look like? Lower brain waves forever. Now continuing. Call of Duty. Previous studies have shown reduced volume in the hippocampus, which controls memory, learning, and emotion. It's associated with neurological and psychological disorders, including dementia and depression. What's fluoride do in the new big government studies out of England? Causes depression, causes anger, causes dementia, causes early onset of Alzheimer's. Yeah, when you drink poison that's used as bug killer, it's not very good for you. There's the headline. London Telegraph. Fluoride in drinking water may trigger depression and weight gain. Warn scientists. There's no may about it. Now, speaking of what happens once you're in a trance state, I saw this yesterday. We had it DVR'd here at the office when I got here. And then Rob Dew found, let's not exaggerate, I think more than 10 others. And everyone's the same. Men are lazy idiots, trendies, non-threatening trendies, hipsters. Their women are in command. And the women use smart grid, mobilize your future, your world, apps to watch their husbands on cameras, to open the doors, to turn on the alarms. And the men are basically absolute idiots. Now, in all the ads I saw, they're trendies, except for this one. He's more of a football player type, cool jock dad, what every woman, thinks she wants. And she's real loving and sweet. She makes the decisions, though, in the house, which 80% of purchases are decided by women. And it's been like that in every culture. Back at the hut, back at the cave. The men go out, fight, die, bring down the big animals, do all that, come back, and then trust their women because it's all part of the family. It's one unit to raise the children. But see, now, he doesn't raise the children. The AT&T NSA-run grid with the woman teamed up, with the house slave. They bring the women in, and they watch the other men. And this is how it is. This is our bondage. And women have been told. Women know. They go, I am now with the state. It is my friend. It tells me I win. All the movies show me as the hero now. The men are down. The fall of men is here. That's right. The fall of humankind is here. We're going down. We're on fire. We're hit hard. We're killing our babies. It's one unit. Men and women together are the species as a team. Men have been turned into Arrested Development snot noses. And the women go out and get an Arrested Development snot nose, and then they're not happy and turn them loose and go, well, then I want a woman who's butch because I'm looking for a man. And the only role where somebody can be manly is if they are a Janet Reno. And so then they go and live together and create a husband and wife scenario with their own sex. When you want to take out fire ants, there's different systems to develop, but they've got some that hit the sexual procreation. You sterilize them. And see, we've just been hit just as much as when an alien spacecraft landed and took over our society through AI and was running all this. I mean, it might as well be that, as I've said 100 times. It's that over the top. And I want to air this ad here. And that's what they would do. They describe it, translated out of Latin into French and then into English, that half the blacks would die when they were shipped over in a coffin ship. And tell the women, through the translators that you'll have on the ship, this is right when they get to the slave block, you keep these men in line or we're going to kill them all. That's what they tell women today. You keep your men in line if you want to be safe. You do what the state says. Now, within a few generations of that, the women just hate the men and prey on them. And this is our journey into total slavery. This is who we are now. And it doesn't matter what sitcom or what drama it is. Dads are bad. Dads are stupid. Dads are lazy. Unless they've got gay friends or unless they've married a minority. Every message is that men are no good. And it's there to hurt women, the main target, who are the species. And they convince them to love their slavery. That's what our women have been taught, to fight to the death of the state, to thank the state for everything it does to them. And my grandmother looking at me while she was sitting there cooking food and going, be safe, sweetheart. And she just looked down while she was cooking with pride. She wanted a man. She wanted a strong tribe. She wanted her progeny to go to the stars, not fail. She was a real woman. Not these things we've got running around today, and not these men. These aren't men either. Where is your pride to stand against this, women, when every ad has men being crap? What does that tell you about this system? What it wants to do to us? Let's now go to the evil ad.
Commander, Yuri has taken control of Hollywood using mind control technology. He's begun to use the media to spread subliminal propaganda. Here's a sample.
From
AT&T.
AT&T.
Piece of bacon with your egg and the omelet for the king.
Okay, babe, you got this, right?
Yeah, that's a piece of cake. I got this.
Okay, good luck.
He doesn't work. She does.
All right, everybody got their bags and lunches? And how do we get to your school?
Keeping things under control is now easier than ever. AT&T Digital Life Home Security and Automation lets you stay connected to your home.
See, it's supposed to be men. They're thinking about security. See, everything's reversed.
866-595-7988 today.
Oh, see, he forgot to let her in.
Digital Life package.
Piece of cake, huh?
Call right now to get smart security equipment plus an outdoor video camera.
Oh, he forgot to let the dog sitter in. She goes, piece of cake, huh? Everything she does is diss her husband, unaffirm him. She'll put her boys on Prozac. She'll put them on Ritalin. She'll stun them. She'll hit them. She'll win. She'll win. Let's go back to her.
Camera plus a garage door controller, all for $99.
Oh, come on, honey, it's so late.
Well, what are you doing?
How's it going?
Piece of cake.
Love you.
So call right now to get smart security equipment plus an outdoor video camera plus a garage door controller, all for $99.
All right. Thanks, honey.
Real life needs digital
Oh,
life. Call
thanks,
now.
honey, for the AI. Thanks for running my life. Maybe she has an app to wipe his butt. See, the message is you don't need men. Well, they don't need humans, folks. It's the rise of the machines. Warning, warning, warning. Danger, danger, Will Robinson.
He's also forcing our R&D department. It's some sort of special project. Looks to me like it's some genetic software.
Gary Hart, who wrote an open letter in Huffington Post about how our government stages terror attacks and Iran better do what we say or we'll stage a terror attack and attack them. And they brought it up to him, gave him the letter, and he kept saying, no, I didn't write that. No, I didn't say that. No, you're a conspiracy theorist. And as soon as he did, he started sweating. He goes, okay, but that really wasn't for you. Gotta go. Because it's the game of, there is no NSA. We're not coming for your guns. And then we, like children, play along. He's talking to you like he's a magician and you've been hypnotized. Hey, I'm not hypnotized, jackass. Got that? I'm alive. I'm not sleeping. I could care less about being at Fox Studios and sitting around with a bunch of mummies. You people on your so-called high horse are a joke. Because if you don't recognize people that are addicted to video games, some of them are here in the office, they're good people, they'll bow up when I say, you know, those video games are inducting you into a false reality and are taking your free will and damaging your cerebral cortex. They'll say, you can have whatever opinion you want. It's one of the few times I've seen two different video game heads here in the office kind of get upset with me. Hey, don't you try to take my heroin away. Listen, we've all got our own addictions. This is an enemy two-way conduit where you get to go be a fake hero in an imaginary world and build something instead of building something in the real war that we're in the middle of. We're going to break it all down straight ahead. And I'm going to explain to you again, video games were invented in the 60s by the Pentagon to create unthinking killers, instinctive shooters. It's why the police are so effective now. They're given the same military training, thoughtless, instinctive shooting. And so when they go up against gangs and other criminals, they just shoot them to pieces if it's a seriously trained police department because they've been given killer training. It's just training. Just like you can be trained to break somebody's neck. And if you have the will to do it and don't think, you just break their neck. Nothing special. You just got to have the force to do it. You can break somebody's neck just like that. Break somebody's arm just like that. Shoot somebody just like that. You don't think, you kill. Well, guess what? While you're in these simulations, I mean, I see the ads for these video games. Be somebody. Command the future. Build your empire. From your mother's basement. Designed to take men out of the game, where you watch other men play sports, or you play simulation sports. And with it, they're tracking everything you do, watching everything you do, recording and videotaping what you do with the Kinect systems and others on record. Samsung TVs, all of it. We told you when they were first coming out with those 6-7 years ago that it could look through your walls with the sound sonar system and even watch you in bed, on the toilet, record everything you're saying. Then hackers listened to me, and they went and they hacked into people's Kinects and Xboxes and videotaped them through multiple walls, playing with themselves. Remember that in the news? It's not a game, people. It's not a game. These are all composite eyes of the AI supercomputer. You want to know why the politicians act like we don't exist? You want to know why the upper echelon just seems like they're in another world? Because they are, folks. They've had medical breakthroughs. They've had technological breakthroughs that are 30 to 50 years advanced. Call of Duty increased risk of Alzheimer's disease. So you're supposed to have pride when you go play your Call of Duty. University of Montreal study finds video game players navigate the screen using a key area of the brain. Millions of boys could be at increased risk of Alzheimer's disease and other mental illnesses in later life through playing action video games such as Call of Duty, Assassin's Creed, according to new research. Yeah, see, I wasn't really playing video games when I was 16. I was dating 22-year-old college graduates. When I was 21, I was starting a radio show. Again, I wasn't playing video games like all the other guys. I was out there being a man. You understand that the movie The Matrix, and it's in my book, Descent to Tyranny, it's out of print, it's online at prisonplanet.tv, is from a 1970s document from the Pentagon, declassified in 2001 by the American Federation of Scientists, and then reclassified, of how they would incrementally get us addicted to television, then give us handheld computers with high-def screens, then glasses, then contacts, then brain ports, then the false reality will be so powerful that people will want to be fully inserted into it. And you'll have a sim that goes out and is allowed to have street fights, is allowed to go into city sectors where crime is authorized, so for excitement, they're going to seduce everyone into this. Sim wars. It's going to be so inviting. You think the Matrix is seductive now? Wait until the real Matrix launches. And by the way, I know Keanu Reeves. On record, everybody knows that. And I know the folks involved with the Matrix, and I'm just going to stop right there. So you need to understand, that movie is in your face, what they're planning. And you could say, oh, that's science fiction, will never happen. Really? Jet airplanes won't happen? Really? Every book ever published can now be stored on the head of a pen? And they said 30 years ago they would be able to do that someday? They did it.